Gilgo Beach Serial Killer, Part 2, The Victims, the Calls, and the Years of Silence. In Part 1, we followed the chilling trail that led investigators to arrest a man they believe is responsible for one of the most disturbing serial murder cases in modern American history, Rex Heuermann. But today, we step away from the suspect, because behind every headline, behind every crime scene photo, behind every discovery in the sand, were real human beings, young women who laughed, who trusted, who hoped for better lives. This is their story, and this is the part of the case that was ignored for far too long. The missing women before Gilgo. For years before remains were discovered along Ocean Parkway, women were quietly vanishing across New York. Some were reported missing, some were not. Most survived on the edges of society, escorting, struggling, moving between cities, trying to stay afloat. When they disappeared, police departments across different jurisdictions treated each case as isolated. No task force, no shared database, no urgency, just silence. And in that silence, a predator continued undisturbed. The Gilgo Four, the first identified victims. Melissa Barthélemy. Melissa was 24 years old. She came from Buffalo, New York. She loved shopping. She loved her little sister more than anything. She dreamed of building a different life. In July 2009, Melissa vanished after taking a job in New York City. When they disappeared, police departments across different jurisdictions treated each case as isolated. No task force, no shared database, no urgency, just silence. And in that silence, a predator continued undisturbed. The Gilgo Four, the second identified victims. Maureen Brainerd. Maureen was 25. She was vibrant, smart, a devoted friend. She often traveled between Connecticut and New York chasing opportunity. In July 2007, Maureen vanished after meeting a client in Manhattan. For 3 years, her family waited with no answers. Then in December 2010, she was found less than 500 feet from Melissa, wrapped in burlap, hidden in the same stretch of scrubland. The pattern was no longer random. Megan Waterman. Megan was only 22. She had a young daughter. She wanted to quit sex work for good. In June 2010, Megan accepted a job in Hauppauge, Long Island. She was never seen again. 6 months later, her remains were found near Melissa and Maureen. 3 women, same dumping ground, same concealment. The idea of a serial killer was now undeniable. Amber Lynn Costello. Amber was 27. She struggled with addiction, but she was trying. She wanted a fresh start. In September 2010, Amber disappeared after going to meet a client in Massapequa. Witnesses later describe a man who seemed unusually angry that night. A man driving a dark-colored truck. Amber's remains were discovered just months later along Gilgo Beach. With Amber, the Gilgo Four were complete. For women, same location, same concealment, same silent killer. After Melissa disappeared, someone continued to use her phone. The voice on the call spoke calmly. Cruelly, strategically, the caller contacted her sister, her friends, her family. These calls were triangulated to Manhattan and linked to burner phones, untraceable prepaid devices. At the time, the caller's identity was unknown. There was no confirmed second suspect. The voice was never officially matched. Today, investigators believe White Heavy checkmarked the calls were likely made by the same offender responsible for the murders. These communications helped law enforcement reconstruct the suspect's movements. They form part of the digital trail used years later to charge Rex Heuermann. But this is critical for historical accuracy. There was never a confirmed second caller or accomplice officially named. Only a single unidentified voice, now believed to be linked to the man already charged. The search expands more bodies. As police combed the beach beyond the Gilgo Four, they made more discoveries. Remains were found that did not match the initial burlap pattern. Some dated back over a decade earlier. Victims included Jessica Taylor, Valerie Mack, Asian Doe, Peaches and her child, Some remains were dismembered, some scattered across counties. This raised terrifying possibilities. One killer evolving over time, or multiple killers using the same dumping ground. To this day, investigators believe more than one offender may be responsible for the older remains, while the Gilgo for a link to a single suspect. The family's years of failure. For over a decade, families lived in agony. They begged for updates, held vigils, filed lawsuits, conducted their own investigations. Meanwhile, leads went cold, evidence aged, jurisdictions refused to coordinate. Corruption allegations plagued the department. Former Suffolk County Police Chief James Burke was later imprisoned on unrelated federal charges, deepening distrust. Critical years were lost, and through all of that, the killer remained free. What changed? Everything shifted when new leadership took over Suffolk County Police. The FBI joined the case fully. Modern DNA genealogy technology was introduced. Digital phone records were reanalyzed. Burner phone data was reconstructed. The same trail from those early taunting calls. The same digital breadcrumbs, now pointed in one direction, toward a man who had lived for years just miles from where the bodies were found. For more than 10 years, the women of Gilgo were labeled as runaways, high risk, lost causes. But they were none of those things. They were daughters, mothers, sisters, friends. In Part 3, we will finally examine the full digital trail, the burner phones, the surveillance, the DNA, and the double life of the man now accused of being the Gilgo Beach Serial Killer. Because sometimes the monster doesn't hide in the dark. Sometimes he hides in plain sight. Subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories.